Hi everyone, welcome back to JPWHUTV. My name is John, your host as always. I hope you're doing well. This is the last of the John Talks 2 series, and what better way to introduce our guest tonight, a man that co-inspired me to do this channel along with a few other people. Also a good friend of his, Dan, that's also been on the channel recently. He's been on a couple of times, in fact. One of the man that I hold in very high esteem, even though he's quite a short ass in comparison to me. A big Elvis fan, and you could argue that he's the West Ham Elvis. Really like to introduce you to. Well, I don't need to introduce you. Everybody knows him, but making his debut on the channel is Mr. Rin, mate.
Hello, mate. You're right. I'll take that. The West Ham Elvis. I like that one. Believe me, mate. I've been called a lot worse over West Ham, so I'll definitely take that.
I can well imagine. We may even cover that a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely. First, thanks for having me on, mate. Been looking forward to this, so thanks for having me on.
No, that's good. I'm glad to be able to track you down, because obviously, you know, the situation last week when you couldn't do it, unfortunately. But then literally when your message came through saying we had to reschedule, Leonard contacted me about half an hour later, and the times were swapped around.
To be honest, mate, it wasn't a bad substitution, was it?
Yeah, it was. Well, as you said off camera, mate, you got big shoes to fill, and hopefully not a bigger bra. So,
well, I'm probably not far off, mate. To be honest,
guys, before we talk to Ryan himself, I just need to do a quick shout out to the channel sponsor, 3retro.com. Please click the link in the description below that will take you directly through to the West Ham section of their website, where you can purchase retro kits from the 60s all the way through to the early 2000s, including the 1976 home shirt that inspired this season's home kit, and also the 1980 FA Cup final, the kit on the day I was born, that has inspired this season's away shirt. There's also West Ham inspired Admiral and Umbro track jackets, polo shirts, sweatshirts and t-shirts, so go check those out. Any purchases made through the link in the description below. Doesn't have to be just West Ham gear. There's a lot of very nice England stuff that they've got, some very nice retro gear in there as well. There's other EPL teams. There's a very nice Ian Rush Liverpool shirt as well, for that matter, and Barcelona kits as well. So anything within the purchase, the link below, any of the next 16 purchases will be going directly to Isla's Fight. So guys, I know you like your retro shirts, so go on, guys, dig deep and let's get some decent money over to the charity. Right, Ryan, this would be very, very interesting. We've got a lot of things to cover, and I know you've got a short space of time to do it, so hopefully we'll be able to do everything. So I know when you do the excellent lives with Nikki, you try to keep it down to around about 45 minutes. So I'm going to try and hopefully do it for the same thing. But first and foremost, mate, not too long for the big day for you in December. Everything ready?
Yeah, we're getting there, mate. It's a lot of planning, mate. I didn't think it was going to be. If I knew it was going to be that tough, I wouldn't have proposed. I'm joking, but no, it's unfortunate. Obviously, getting married on December the 7th, the day we play Arsenal at home. Obviously, 2 years ago, mate, when I booked the wedding, I didn't think. Well, I knew there was a chance we was going to play, but fingers crossed, the game will get moved. Hopefully, from what I'm hearing, it could be moved to the Sunday. So, but if not, look, West Ham are going to be there. I'll be going West Ham the week after. So sometimes some things are more important than football. Not many things, but some things are more important than football, mate. And but who knows? Who knows? Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can guarantee. I bet you are, mate. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a big weight off your mind once it's all happened. But seriously, though, yeah, you're right. The funny thing is because I was thinking about it while I was getting my notes together. You know, we've played Arsenal in December. This would be the second time in 3 years now, I think, if I remember correctly. Because I know we had a home defeat to them, wasn't it, like 5-1?
Yeah. The funny thing is one of my mates who I work with is a massive Arsenal fan, and he's coming to my wedding, and we've been saying since probably last 6 months before like the fixtures come out, we were saying, I bet we get Arsenal. We always play Arsenal around that time. And I remember sitting opposite him when the fixtures come out, and I just looked at him and I went, we've got Arsenal. And he was like, nah. And he went, yeah, we've got Arsenal. I was like, oh, fucking hell. Oh, mate. It's just one of them things. But look, life goes on.
Exactly.
As I said, I'll be at West Ham the week after.
So have you got your claret and blue suit authorised, much less prepared?
No, mate. Do you know what? Funny enough, there's not going to be hardly any claret. I think people think they're going to turn up and it's going to be claret and blue this. I'm going to have fucking Billy Bond's giving me away and everything claret and blue. It's not like that, mate. No, it's nothing like that. But I'm sure that Bubbles will be played at some point during the night when everyone's had a few too many vinos, especially me.
Well, I know your sense of humour is quite cheeky, the same way that mine is every now and again. And it'd be quite funny if that was the first dance that you two do. That'd be quite funny. The Bubbles, Cockney rejects.
Either that or twist and shout.
That's not about. Well, I hope she's not watching, mate. I really hope she's not watching.
I don't think my legs can move that fast, mate. To be honest.
Well, talking of fast moving legs, mate. Well, obviously you've made it known quite recently, especially with these new live streams you've been doing with Nikki. That the man behind you is your favourite musician, Elvis Presley. Just out of real curiosity, more than anything else, what's your most favourite Elvis song?
There's quite a few I like. If I Could Dream, I'd probably say If I Could Dream or Suspicious Minds. That'd probably be There's some classics though. Look, as I said to you off camera, mate, I was brought up with old era music like Johnny Cash, Elvis, the Beatles, Rat Pack, and I love all that music. I could listen to anything. I also grew up in an era of 90s boy bands, so you can imagine that I don't mind a bit of Westlife now and again. I shouldn't really admit that, mate, but it's what I grew up in.
Well, don't worry, man. The viewing figures for this live stream is a millionth of what you guys normally get, so there's not meant that many people are going to be aware of it. So, but at the same point, mate, you're only 4 years younger than me, so we grew up in pretty much the same time period. Fortunately or unfortunately, especially with music. God, some of the 80s stuff that was bloody awful things.
Saying that, me and Graham was at a Cotty and Machiavelli night last week, and at the venue downstairs there was an 80s bar, so we went in there after for a couple of drinks, and I think me and Graham couldn't get ourselves out of there once that 80s music come on, mate. Honestly, we knew all the words, so I love a bit of 80s music, a bit of 80s cheese.
Yeah, true, very true. One of the things when I'm in an 80s room, if Madness is on, that's it. I'm gone. I'm done. I'm dancing like crazy. My bruised legs and Christ knows what else. Honestly. Now, as I said, you and Nikki and obviously Gio and stuff as well. You guys all inspired me to get this channel up and running because I watched our West Ham Fan TV almost from the start. So it was like 3/4 of the way towards the end of the bowling season. So I just wondering over that 4-5 years it's been now that you guys have been doing this.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a change in opinions at all from the fan base?
On what? On us or just on West Ham in general?
Just West Ham in general.
I think obviously social media has played a massive part in football in the last 10 years, to be honest. I think the last 4 or 5 years you've seen more sort of fan channels coming about, which I know some people hate it. I know some people love it. So it's a mixed. You're always going to get mixed opinions on what we do. But what I've found is that 9 times out of 10, people will come up to us, especially at games, and they say they appreciate what we do because it gives. We set out to give fans a voice, basically, to stand there. Because believe me, look, it wasn't easy in the beginning. You stand outside Upton Park after a game and you try to hold a camera and so on. The amount of times we got told to fuck off but it happens, and we used to have to go out and sort of drag people over to us. Now you've been there yourself after a game. We get regulars and new people coming over to us now, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, my opinion on West Ham's changed a lot over the last few years. I think the difference is now is that back in when I was growing up, you'd after the game, you go and meet your mates. You go in school, and you'd have a little argument, and then that's it. But now you have an argument or a row with someone at football over a result or something. It carries on all night over Twitter, and it sort of ruins your night. It carries on, like when you used to go to school, you'd have a little row over, like I said, over the result or who's a better player, and then the next day you forgot about it. Because back in when I know there's probably young people watching this, but even me going to school, there weren't mobile phones really then. We never had mobile phones, and there was definitely no social media. So social media now is a platform where people can just voice their opinions, and I don't like it when like you have your opinion and then you'll get 10 or 20 people rowing with you. At the end of the day, that's your opinion. Everyone's got their opinion. It's like people that come on our fan cams. Some people don't agree with what Dom says, what Mike says, what you say sometimes. But that's just it. That's your opinion.
Exactly. And one of the things that I'm really glad to see that was Dom was back on after the Bournemouth game, because he's taken a lot of criticism over the last few years.
Yeah, I've seen it, mate. It was Brighton away where I see it. It was disgusting, to be honest. I mean, you had people standing around threatening him, and I'm talking men in their 40s and 50s. I've been even before. I remember once we played West Brom away, and I was interviewing someone. I turned around, I could see a bloke trying to swing for Dom, and Dom was only 21 at the time. This bloke was in his 50s, and I literally put the mic down and went over there to sort of like defend him, because we sort of give him the platform. And what I've said is that people don't like Dom. That's fair enough. They don't like his opinions, but they still watch his interviews. I say to people, look, I don't like Coronation Street, mate. I don't watch it, so I can't moan about it. Don't watch it. But they do. So sometimes I feel sorry. But look, I've stood there and interviewed Dom loads of times. I've stood behind the camera while Nicky's interviewed Dom. I don't agree with things he says, but it's his opinion.
Exactly. And like you said, that's exactly what the platform's there for, is to get everybody's opinion on things. For example, the first time that you and I properly met, Spurs away, and all that debacle that happened, that was just nothing out of the ordinary. Dom was being quite complimentary to Spurs from one point of view, and then all of a sudden that little bloke started piping up and then everything else. I don't want to say it because I know you guys covered it last season, so I don't want to go into too much.
I don't mind it, mate. It is what it is. It comes with what we do. There's not many away games you go and you get a bit of grief. I mean, the only other one I can really remember was probably Man City away when we beat them at the Etihad. And we got a little bit of grief off of bitter Man City fans, but no, it happens. It's what you do. What people realise is that when the away end clears, we're still there. So by the time we're walking back to the station, you're walking with about 3 or 4 of you, and you've got your West Ham gear on. You got to expect a bit of abuse. That's what happens.
Of course. I mean, that's the thing. If you're going to dish it out, you've got to be able to take it at the same point. Now, I'm just obviously talking about last season, because I know pretty much everybody, you, Nicky, Dan, and even Scott, said there was trying times last season for you guys personally in terms of the channel. But at the same point, I want to ask. I mean, you don't have to tell me anything you don't want to. But one of the things I wanted to do, because for you establishing yourselves as like one of the biggest football fan platforms, behind Arsenal TV and I think it's the Red Men are the only two channels that are larger than yourselves. What's been the worst and also the best that things that you've encountered over the last 3 to 4 years?
I'll start off with the worst. I'll be honest. Look, people know we got caught up in a lot of things last year. One being with a certain journalist that we shouldn't have got caught up in, but we had to defend ourselves. The other one was obviously you had all the stuff with the march and things like that, which we got asked to be involved in. People begged us to be involved in it. We helped. Look, but that's all done now. We thought we let ourselves down because I think a few of us not sort of lost the heart for it, but we felt the content weren't good and we wasn't. We felt like we was going backwards. We weren't really doing post-match pint a lot, which is the show we all love to do. It's what was invented for this channel, really. But yeah, we've made mistakes. Everyone does, but it's about learning from it. And we lost a lot of our reputation sort of around that period. But I think over the last few months, and I've had messages sent to me on my personal account, even to our West Ham Fan TV account, people saying that how much they're enjoying the content. Look, what we want to do is we just want to talk about the club we love, have a laugh with our mates, and show that on camera. We've been lucky enough to have been asked to go to the club to attend meetings, which, despite what some people say, there has been improvements at the ground. People might laugh saying, "Oh yeah, you got beer shelves flagged," but what they don't realise is the carpet's gone in, all the pictures of the legends that have gone around the ground, inside and outside. That things like that, the Billy Bonds Day and honouring legends. That come out in their meetings, and we're not there to affect. We can't affect transfers. We can't affect what they spend. But look, as I said, we've done what we can. we just want to concentrate on what we do and enjoy doing the channel, which we have been. And this season, pre-season, and so far this season, we've loved it. We've enjoyed it. We all feel like we can't wait to get back on camera and do some content.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. I'm glad you brought up the carpet because we've only lost once since that's been put in. So
that's what I mean, mate. That's what I mean. No,
I know loads of people.
It's little things like that. I mean, when you walk into that stadium now, the first thing you see is that carpet and it's claret. So it makes it feel a bit more like home. I remember walking in there with a green carpet and it just didn't look like West Ham. But I know, look, the stadium is where it is now. It's our home. The bowling's gone. I'll go over the Beckton flyover every day and I can see the bowling where it used to be, and it's flats now. It's never coming back. So what we need to do now is just try to turn that into a bit of a fortress. And lately, last 11 games there, as you said, we've only lost one, and that was against the champions, Man City. So we're getting a little bit of good home form lately. So it's down to us fans to turn it into a football stadium, really, with the atmosphere.
100%, mate. I don't even see half the stuff I used to nowadays. Like the stuff with the tarpaulin over the seats and all that sort of stuff. I don't even remember. I don't even recognize that anymore. I just see it's our home. And the same thing with you. It's great to see all the flags up again. Basically, obviously, I think wasn't Fabianski meant to get his Hammer of the Year award, but a pitch side, but they ended up doing it at the training ground instead. But at least this stuff's coming back to rekindle the memories, and it's
going to take years, mate. It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, I know Arsenal fans that still ain't used to the Emirates, and they've been there 12, 14 years now. It's going to take time. You've got the old school fans that love the bowling. I love the bowling. It's where we all grew up. Next generations are never going to know the bowling, so it's about us, and I've always said since day one, if the team's playing well and we're winning, it's always going to be a great place to go. But when you're losing, it's the first thing you can blame. So as long as you see what that Spanish team done with their stadium, it can be done. So hopefully, I know that Golden Sullivan can't sell up for next 2 seasons. So who knows? They might have something in line for 2 or 3 years where there is someone who wants to invest in the club. And I think eventually, and Karen Brady sort of admitted this in a meeting last year, that eventually we will get that stadium. We might have to pay a little bit of money for it, but even if we end up paying 50, 100 million for it, it's an 800 million pound stadium.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I've always said right from the start that yes, it's not a football stadium; it's a multi-purpose event stadium. But it's our home, and we've got to get used to it. I mean, my view's 10 times better now. I don't have to duck and dive under the crossbar to see what's going on the other end of the pitch now. So that alone, I'm happy with. Yeah. But James put a little comment in. I think you might like, mate. For the Wonder of You. I'm talking about Elvis. I'm guessing.
Yeah, a great song. There's loads of songs I could choose. Loads.
Burning Love. Yeah, there was In the Ghetto as well, was one of my favourite songs. Beautifully written lyrics. Yeah, exactly. Jones also said, love the 80s with me, it's the 1880s. So showing your age a bit there, John. I didn't realise you were that gone. Jesus. 140.
But as to answer the second part of the question, mate, I mean, the best bits. I mean, there's so many I can choose from. The opportunities that we've been given by doing this channel, and I've been lucky enough to interview ex-heroes of mine. I've sat down and had lengthy interviews with John Hartson, Razor Ruddock, Frank Lampard Sr., Matty Everton, Paul Konchesky, and not only that, you sort of become friends with these people. I had the great opportunity to play in the Isle of Caton charity game, which is a memory that will live with me for the rest of my life. I played in midfield with Kenny Brown in that game, who played in midfield for West Ham in my first ever game that I went to. So it's memories, and I can't thank Isla's family enough for giving me that opportunity to play in that game. And as I said, I had Julian Dix as my manager, who's my hero, my favourite West Ham player of all time. Billy Bonds was meant to be there that day, but unfortunately couldn't make it. Second, it got a bit interesting after Kenny Brown went off, and I found myself playing centre mid with Danny Dyer, which was which is a moment I won't forget. It was a great day, and we raised a lot of money for Isla that day.
Of course, I mean, and that's the main thing behind it, 100%. Yeah, so yeah, it's it's great to get opportunities like that. The I think one of the reasons why you guys get so much criticism is that there are people out there that are just genuinely jealous of how what you guys have been doing, and likewise, the only way they can vent it is to put it onto your shoulders. Unfortunately,
I think it comes down to as well that there's a lot of old school people that were so used to fanzines and things like that. And I read fanzines growing up as a kid. I bought Overland and Sea when I used to go to the bowling. Match day programs I used to buy, but now everything's there on social media for you and things like that. And YouTube is a massive platform. It allows people like me, yourself, Hammers Chat, and all the other fan channels to come on and express their opinions. And as I said earlier, not everyone agrees with it, but I'll get more people coming up to us saying how much they like our stuff than people that say they don't like our stuff. So that's always a good sign. You're never going to please everyone in life.
No,
You're never going to please everyone.
But at the same point, you're what, 47,000 subscribers, give or take now. So you get getting this. You must be doing something right.
Yeah, I know. It's massive. I'll be honest with you, mate. I remember the days when we only had like 50 subscribers, 100 subscribers, but that still meant as much to us then than what it does now. I mean, we're closing in on 50,000. But I'll be honest, the subscribers don't really bother me as long as people like our stuff. I don't care if we had 100,000 subscribers or 100 subscribers, mate. I'll be honest with you.
Exactly. I mean, because that's one of the things that I took from you guys is that this channel now has only been going for 2 years and I only just hit almost on 1,200 subscribers. Means nothing to me in terms of that, because I've been doing the same style of stuff since I was doing when I had 3. Yeah.
Listen, as long as you enjoy what you do, then that's all that matters, mate. It's all that matters. I spoke to Tim at the American Hammers. I sounded a bit American then. I don't know how your voice went, but I remember he was getting disheartened with the views he was getting and the subscribers. I said, look, don't worry about that. Don't look at the subscribers. Don't look at the views. Just do what you're doing, and eventually it will grow. People start off. Look, Arsenal Fan TV. When I first met Robbie, he only had about just over 100,000 subscribers. Within 4 years, he's now over 1 million. I went to his million subscribers party the other week, Robbie's a great friend of ours. He's helped us out big time, and he's a great bloke. And you see the stick that he gets. You see the stick. I've seen people physically try to attack him outside stadiums before. But look, as much as some people hate him, he's got millions that love him. So
yeah, and likewise, fair play to Robbie. A couple of years ago, he was on the BBC for the FA Cup final. Him and whatever his name is, I can't remember the guy. They were doing. They had a couple of minutes on the BBC. So that they are very, very good channels, and as I say, you guys are definitely one of them. Now, what is the question I want to ask you, which you kind of hinted on earlier? So what has been your favourite ever West Ham game that you've attended? What's the one that springs straight to mind?
Do you know? I think, and I said this before on a few videos. I think the best atmosphere was the playoff semi-final against Ipswich. I think that atmosphere that night when we beat them was better than the last game at the Boleyn. I'll never forget that night. It was unbelievable. But I think there's been so many games, home and away. But for me, I think it'd have to be the first game I ever went, Upton Park, when we played Everton. 2-2 draw Monday Night Football. I'll never forget that. As I said, I was with Tony Cotty the other night and I was speaking to him about it. He was the first player I ever see score live. So Tony Cotty will always be sort of special to me. I'll just never forget that walk down the Barking Road with my dad, seeing the floodlights, just seeing it, like the thousands of people going into the stadium. And you just never forget that moment. You never forget your first time, as they say. It's that old saying. But yeah, the last game at the Boleyn was magical. But the best atmosphere has got to be the game against Ipswich when Matty Everton scored that goal and then Christian Daly scored the winner. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that game.
Neil from Down Under is in. Good morning. He worries me. I know he's retired and everything, but It's lovely that he comes on. He gets up ridiculously early every morning, Neil. But welcome, nice to see you, mate. Jones made a very, very good point here. Wherever our differences, we all love West Ham. We are stuck together for life. There's no divorce. Whatever happens, we are fans until our last breath. It is, Joan. You're absolutely right. 100%.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's like that. It's, you know, you can put it this way. There's people. There might be people in your family that you don't like. You slate them. You slate them. You slate them. But then if someone outside attacks your family, you're going to defend them. It's like West Ham. It's that, you know, we can sit there and we can slate West Ham all we want. It's our football club. As soon as an outsider, a rival, starts slating, your back goes up. You're going to defend your club. So we all love West Ham, and everyone has different opinions on the football club and how it should be run, who should be playing, you know. But no fan is better than any other fan. It doesn't matter if you can't attend the games. It don't make me a better fan because I go home and away. We both love the football club. We both love the football club.
And that's the thing, which you got you and Nicky touched on last night, talking about the point system. You know, because obviously, as Nicky pretty much predicted what was released this morning, that the Newcastle game is now on sale to Claret members. So there's a very, very good chance that that's going to go on sale in general as well. But you know, I agree with what you two were saying last night. I mean, it's for me. I had my points wiped a few years back, and I've only got like 4 or 5. So it's really difficult for me to. I mean, like for example, when I met you at the Spurs, I was able to go because a mate of mine couldn't make it, and he gave me his ticket. So I've been able to do it that way. But I don't complain about it. I don't sit on there on Twitter going, "Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that." I don't. It doesn't make any difference. I mean, I try and go in the ballot for everything that I can possibly do once it goes into the ballot, and I'm bloody unlucky. I've not got one yet, but you never know. But I love the away games. I've had a few away games over the last few years, and I absolutely love it. And it's just and the way that the system's set up is annoying for some people, and it's really easy for other people. But at the same point, as you guys hit it on last night, there's no way to fix it and cure everybody. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's down to the club at the end of the day. They've got to sort something out. Whatever they do, it's not gonna. People ain't gonna like it. There's gonna be what they're gonna do. They can't scrap priority points and everyone starts on a fresh because that's not fair.
No.
The way I see it, I mean, I think the 10% thing is good because it gives people a chance. Maybe instead of doing the ballot, maybe they should just do 10% on general sale and first come, first serve. Whoever's lucky enough to get them, maybe they could do that. I don't agree with the sort of 10% for low allocation games and London derbies because, as you said, you know, we missed out on Watford this year by a point. Because we had a few, I'm not sure what happened, but we had quite a lot of points taken off us during the summer, which I did bring up with the ticket office. But it's one of them things. But we'll be probably every other away game this season. It's just unfortunate that we missed out on Watford because it was the first away win in the season. I'm gutted I weren't there because I love Watford away. But it is what it is, you know. It's part of, but it's down to the club now. I don't agree with certain people going into these meetings. Someone said earlier that 40% of people in that meeting go to away games, so that means the majority of them don't. So why should they get a say on how it's run? I don't agree that they're handpicked puppets, basically, and that's what it is. And that's my feelings on it. I hope the club can sort it. I wish there was a way that it was fair for everyone, but unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah, it is. It's annoying, and again, like what you and Nicky were talking about with Bournemouth in terms of how much it costs for a drink and how much it costs for a burger and all that sort of stuff. That's a prime example of how a football, in my opinion, and I'm guessing you guys will share it, that's how a football club should be treating fans. You should be able to get a meal for your kids for under £3. That's the whole point. We don't have to be overcharged for the shirts and the tickets and whatnot. But I know that the prices of the season tickets are a lot cheaper than they were. You know, they're obviously more expensive because they went up last year, but they're still lower than they were at the Bowling. I mean, a lot of people have forgotten about that. They just concentrate on, it went up 20%. Well, yeah, it did, but it's still cheaper than what we were paying 5-6 years ago.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, so just coming on to that, because obviously talk about Watford and everything. What was your thoughts about the performance for Bournemouth? Because unfortunately, you guys didn't get a post-match pint done. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought a point was a fair result at the end for both teams. I thought Bournemouth are a tough team. As I said, I'm a massive fan of Eddie Howe. I have been for a long time now. I think they play good football. They've got two goal scorers down there, but Callum Wilson, obviously the standout one that always seems to score against us. But they're a good football club, and to go there, and I watched them when they played Everton there the other week, and they destroyed Everton. So for us to get a point, it's always disappointing when you're leading a game and then you find yourself losing, and it could have been 3-1, but for VAR and for Roberto, who's got a lot of stick, but Roberto kept us in that game, and straight up the other end we score and we equalise. So it's a good point that put us up to third. I mean, if after that 5-0 defeat to City on the opening day, if you'd have said after 7 games that we'd be above Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Spurs, and we was third in the league, you'd have took that. I know we've dropped down to 5th now because of other games, but look, if we beat Palace on Saturday, we're going to go into the international break probably in the top 4, which would be massive for us.
Exactly. I mean, as it stands at the moment, the only team that's above us in terms of that, there's Arsenal, and then there's Arsenal and there's Spurs, and there's Chelsea. I mean, when was that ever happened so early on in the season?
Exactly. That's why we've got to enjoy it while it lasts, because it's probably not going to last all season. But it's a great start, and especially after last season when we lost our first 4, it's a massive improvement.
So who's impressed you so far this season?
What, player wise?
Yeah.
I've been very impressed with Sebastian Haller. I know we want to see him score goals, but I like his all-round play. I've been impressed with Lanzini this season, Felipe Anderson, but Yarmolenko for me has been unbelievable, especially in the last 2 or 3 games. I think he's starting to settle now. He had that horrific injury last year that kept him out for a long time. But I think he's going to, if he carries on, he'll get 10 plus goals this season without a doubt. But Declan Rice, Mark Noble, when he come back into the team, there's not really been many players that haven't impressed me. It's probably easier to say players that haven't impressed me, which I can't really tell you that many, really, because probably Sanchez and the striker, Yeti, that he hasn't really impressed me. But he's only had 2 cup games. But I think we've had a great start. I've been very impressed with Ryan Fredericks this season. Fabianski, obviously, before the injury, world class again. Masuaku has impressed me as well before he's sending off. I think he's worked on his defensive side. Creswell coming back into the team has grabbed his chance. And that's one thing we haven't had over West Ham for a long time, competition in places. Some people used to turn up on a Saturday knowing they're playing, turning up and being like not giving 100% in training because they knew they'd be in the team. But now every position's got someone battling for them, so they need to up their game.
Agreed, 100%. Talking of Haller, it's actually quite interesting seeing earlier today that he's getting his own TV series. Did you hear about this?
I see something. I see him tweet something this morning. That'd be interesting. It'd be good for us to see sort of behind the scenes what goes on at West Ham. And
yeah, it's basically a web TV series according to Canal Plus's social media post, which he retweeted this morning. It's called. Basically, I can't pronounce it in French, basically, but it's Haller in Britain, it's Haller in England. It's just following him how his first season in the Premier League is going to be. I think it's a great idea. I just hope it doesn't go the same way that Sunderland's TV program went. But but it'd be great exposure for people over in France to learn about the Premier League who probably don't know too much about it, and also learn about West Ham as well, the background of the club and what's everything going on in with that as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing it if it does actually properly come out. Well, I mean, obviously it won't be till next year because it's about his first season playing, but I think it's an absolutely fantastic idea. There was something that you and Nikki talked about last night about Wilshere. Now, I've not been able to see much that he has picked up an injury, but I mean, I'm not too concerned about Wilshere, because as good as a player that he can be, he's not really been in the side enough for me to get worried about it. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, well, I can't wait to see him play, because when he does play, he runs around like a terrier. I mean, Ayeti, to his credit, did the same sort of thing against Bournemouth. He was running around. Fornals was running around like a terrier trying to get the ball all the time. I think personally, for me, Fornals' best performance I really think he did well in that game. But the funny thing is that everyone's coming out saying that there's been a price tag of 100 million on Declan Rice. It's not in any shape or form, but at the same point, Ryan, I'm sure you'll agree that that's how much we should be selling him for. That's kind of that's our fan's price tag. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, with Jack Wilshere, I mean, listen, I like Jack Wilshere. I rate him as a player. I think he's one of the technically best midfielders in England when he's when he's on form. The problem is, I mean, he's made 14 appearances for West Ham since he's been here. He obviously was out for a long period last season. I think the injury that he picked up at Bournemouth was just a knock, and he might miss the Crystal Palace game. So if that's the case, then look, football players get knocked. If Jack Wilshere is going to get injured, I'd rather him be out for one game than 6 months.
Absolutely.
When he comes on, you can see. I can't remember what game it was. I think it was. I can't remember now, but I remember him coming on, and as soon as he gets that ball, he puts his head up and he's looking to play forward. And we haven't had many midfielders like that at West Ham over the past few seasons. But look, I just hope he can stay fit, and if we can get 15, 20 games out of him this season, then that's massive for West Ham. But as for Declan Rice, yeah, I mean, look, Declan Rice is unbelievable. I remember I was at his debut when he come on Burnley away last game of the season a couple of years ago. And you see it, and he had his confidence knocked. I remember Newcastle away when we lost 3-0, and he had his confidence knocked. Bilic dragged him off, and he could have, but he got his head down. I remember David Moyes sort of brought him through a bit more, and ever since then he hasn't looked back. Now he's I know people can say about he played for Ireland and that, but look, he's an England national now. I think only England and West Ham are going to benefit from Declan Rice, and it's going to be hard to keep hold of him because teams like Man City will be crying out for players like him, and they've got the money. And if Man City or someone like that come in with £100 million bid for Declan Rice, we're not the sort of club that can turn that down. If we did turn it down, it'd be a massive statement from West Ham. But look, Declan Rice he signed a 5-year deal. He's there till. Even when his contract finishes, he'll only be 24, 25. So exactly. He's got a massive career, and I just hope, fingers crossed, that it's with West Ham.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will be, because I know that he's been speaking volumes about Noble every time he's interviewed, if it's on the website or it's the BBC Sport, whatever stuff. He's always mentioning how well Noble is towards everybody. So he's learning big time from him. 100%. I absolutely love him. One thing I'm really looking forward to with the Palace game is seeing Roberto play. I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably about the only one that is, but I want us to get behind him, because I don't agree with all that booing that happened on Saturday.
I think we have to get behind him. I mean, most of the booing was probably because he let 4 goals in against Oxford and he didn't dive for 3 of them, I think it was. So, but look, he's our number one now. There's nothing we can do. Fabianski's injured. We can't go out and get anyone. So we just got to get behind him. And it also comes down to his back 4 in front of him, protecting him as well. But look, I'm sure, knowing West Ham fans, they will get behind him on Saturday. They'll give him a big, massive round of applause when he jogs up to his goal before the game. And the thing is, you don't want to put pressure on him. I see it at Bournemouth on Saturday. As soon as he come on, the few boos, first thing he does, he kicks it straight out of play. The boos get louder. You don't need that. You don't want. There's one player on the pitch that you don't want to have lose confidence. Is your goalkeeper. That's the one position that you don't, because if one of your strikers loses his confidence, he's got players around him that can pick him up and score goals. Goalkeepers, as you say, they've got the hardest job on the pitch, because they could pull off 20 world-class saves, but they let one in last minute. That's what they're remembered for.
Agreed, 100%. And Barbara's just made quite a good comment on that. Welcome again, Barbara. Wankers who booing. it's true.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is tough. I mean, I've never been one to sort of boo my own players. I mean, I wasn't a great fan of Masuaku, I'll be honest with you, but I never booed him. I wouldn't boo him. At the end of the day, any player that wears like this badge, they're representing your team, your club. You want them to do well. I want Masuaku in our predictions in pre-season. I predicted Masuaku to be the most improved player at West Ham this season, and I think the way he started, he did start off well. Obviously, he's got a bit of competition on his hands now to get back into the first team because Creswell's taken his chance.
Mm. And likewise, it was nice to see. Actually, I don't know if this might be a bit of lip service to the fan base, but Creswell made Alan Shearer's Team of the Week, which is quite nice. I didn't even know he did it, to be honest with you. I was just looking through the BBC website and that popped up. But yeah, now obviously we've got the international break coming up, but just after the game. But Ryan, what are your thoughts with not to steal Scott's thunder for a few seconds, but what are your thoughts for Palace? I mean, in terms, because obviously, I mean, I'm guessing you'd probably agree that the only change is going to be Roberto from the starting 11.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on the thoughts and predictions for the game?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I mean, Palace, I think they're only a point behind us. So it's a big London derby live on Sky, 5:30 kickoff. It's one of them games. I think we're good enough. I think we're good enough to beat them, but I don't think it's going to be convincing. I could see like a tight 2-1, maybe 3-2, one of them sort of games. But 11 against 11, if we turn up, we're going to beat. We will beat them. I mean, we've got the players. We've got people like Felipe Anderson, Lanzini. Lanzini always has a good game against Crystal Palace. Sebastian Eller's crying out for a goal. He needs a goal just to, like I said, he's been playing well all season for me, but he just needs a goal. So I fancy him to get a goal on Saturday. As I said, I think it'll be a tight game because Palace have got some players that can hurt us as well. So we need to be on it from start of the game to the end of the game. And our midfield, Declan Rice and Mark Noble, as long as they break up play, give the ball to the players that can run with it and make things happen, I can see us. Yeah, I fancy us to win, but it will be tight.
I'm thinking 2-1 myself because it's good because if Wilfried Zaha is going to be playing, then he's going to give us a tough time. He always does. But I loved Anderson's setup for Creswell against Bournemouth. I loved Alaire's assist for assist for Yarmolenko's absolutely fantastic left foot strike once again. Reminded me of the Everton goal that he scored as well. That was just and it was funny seeing Rice's cheeky little comment on Instagram the other day when he saying about it being a lucky it was going completely wide. But because I know you guys talked about that last night, but it's great to see that the guys that everybody's going onto each other's Instagram accounts, Twitter accounts, and having a bit of banter with each other. It just shows that the team's way more unified, and it's now that's coming onto the pitch as well. Everybody seems to be defending better, tracking back better. We're starting to attack in droves again, but but in terms of obviously now, as we said about the international break after the Palace game. Now, you've been very vocal that you love watching England as well. But how do you feel that the campaign for the Euros has been going so far?
Yeah, I mean we played 4-1-4. I've been impressed with England ever since Gareth Southgate took over. I've been impressed with England. I think we've got some great youngsters coming through. And Sterling at the moment, I'll put Sterling in the world-class bracket at the moment. He's playing unbelievable. And look, I know we're a West Ham channel and that, but now we're talking about England. We've got a great captain in Harry Kane, and we've got a goal scorer. That's it's exciting times for England. And I think the Euros next year, there's no doubt we're gonna be there. I mean, we've got Czech Republic and Bulgaria away in the international break. Two tough away games, but it's two games that I think we will come through. I think we'll get 6 points out of them two games, and I think that qualifies us. And then next summer, it's a massive. The thing is, the semi-finals and the final is at Wembley, so it's England's to lose. I think if England win the Euros in this country, be massive. You see what the atmosphere was like during the World Cup, and no one give us a chance in hell to win that World Cup or even get to a quarters or a semis. And I remember the buzz around this country, and it sort of united the country with everything that's going on in this country at the moment with the politics and things like that. England united everyone in that summer, and it's a summer that we won't forget for a long time. And as I said, Gareth Southgate, he brings through, he's giving players a chance, young players a chance, things that we haven't seen in a long time. I mean, I've supported England for as long as I can remember. I mean, my first memories of England was Italia '90.
Same as me, exactly the same as me.
You know, and I remember the buzz, and then obviously after that, we didn't make the World Cup in '94, but I remember the Euro '96 when it was over here. I mean, it was massive. It was massive for the country. Now this country has not hosted a tournament since then. Amazes me. Maybe we don't pay the people at FIFA enough money, backhanders and things like that, because our Qatar and things like that get the World Cup. Amazes me. But no, I think England at the moment I enjoy watching England. It's entertaining, and long may it continue.
I mean, I agree. I mean, Euro '96, the buzz was just incredible. I've never, because obviously we were having everything at home, and then France '98 as well. That was that attitude. Everybody's attitude then was brilliant, and then everything sort of capitulated up until a few years back. But say for all right, I've got a funny feeling I know what your answer is going to be, because you kind of explored it last night. But if Gareth Southgate's sacked, who would you want to have as the next England manager? I can't see Southgate going for a long time yet.
No,
but you never know with football. But who would you want to see as the favourite for the England job?
Well, it's difficult now because obviously last night, I've said that Eddie Howe's the future England manager. I think he's that good, but I don't think he's ready now. So if Gareth Southgate was to get the sack now, it'd be difficult for someone to. I think we'd have to go foreign again.
Yeah.
If Gareth Southgate got the sack, which is tough for me to say because I wasn't really a big fan of Capello. Sven gave us some good times. He gave us some memorables, but I wasn't a fan of Capello. Do you know what? I could if Gareth Southgate got sacked now, I think someone like Jose Mourinho would take the England job.
I think you were going to say that.
Yeah. And I think
exactly my pick.
I think it'd be great for England. But I enjoy Gareth Southgate. Long may it continue with him.
Definitely, 100%. He's bringing the club mentality back to England. He's picking players. He's picking players that deserve to be there, aren't there, just because they're fashionable, like everyone's been doing for the last 20 years. He's picking, like you said earlier, he's picking the youngsters to make sure to give them the time to grow in. England supporters seem to be a lot more patient as well. Yeah, because we know the players are a lot younger.
What I love as well is that, and I think why I said that Harry Kane is a great captain is because there's no egos in that dressing room. Yeah. In the last 15, 20 years, we've seen Arsenal and Man United players not talking to each other, Chelsea players not talking to each other in the dressing room. They won't mix with the Man United players, and that's why England never done anything. That golden generation we had should have been good enough to win at least two tournaments. We didn't win nothing. But Harry Kane sort of unites all the players. He doesn't leave anyone out. You see on Declan Rice's first day, I'll never forget Declan Rice's first day for England. First person to come up to him was Harry Kane. He took him to the side and had a word with him, and that's it. And there could have been that rivalry there with West Ham Spurs, but Harry Kane's not about that. And I know he gets a lot of stick, but when he puts on that England shirt, for me, he's an England player. I don't think about his Tottenham connections and things like that. And I think that's where a lot of fans sort of, there was some people saying they wouldn't want to see England win the World Cup because there was 3 or 4 Tottenham players in the squad. That's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I know we have banter with West Ham saying, "Oh yeah, we won the World Cup in '66 with obviously Hurstmore and Peters." But look, there was other players in that great England team that helped us win that World Cup. And I'd love to see one day in my lifetime England win another tournament, whether it be the Euros or the World Cup.
Definitely, man. I would love to see it. I just want to not. I'd rather see us get to a final first, and then obviously going on and win it. But just when England's in a final, that buzz will just be absolutely incredible. Everybody that hates England as in football communities will all of a sudden start. Yes, England's in the final, and I'm going to watch it. And that's how fickle we can be. But yeah, I'd love that. Go on.
I'm reminded of England's success because I've got a picture in my front room up there of Bobby Moore lifting the World Cup, and he said it was a 50th anniversary piece that's signed by Bobby Moore, which is one of my proud. I love it. I see it every day when I come in, and I've got other memorabilia as well, but that's probably my favourite, and I get to see it every day when I come in. I'm lucky enough that I've got a missus that loves football as well, so I'm allowed to have football pictures up. But I suppose in the future, when kids come into the question, they'll have to sort of go in the spare room or something. But the picture, not the kids.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I wasn't saying you're going to chain them up or anything. No.
But yeah,
So, guys, we're coming towards the end of this now. So, if you've got any questions for Ryan, by all means, put them in the chat. One thing I was really, really pleased to see on the website that a lot of people don't like to read is that Winston Reid's returning to the under-23s next week. Yeah. What have been your thoughts on Winston? Because obviously, you know, taking the injury side of it out, you know, what are your thoughts about Winston?
I love Winston Reid. Funny enough, me and Scott we was talking about this the other week. We was at the game where he got injured, Swansea away, and we was front row that game, and we heard the scream when he got injured, and we knew then that was going to be a long-term injury. And me personally, I don't think he's going to ever get back to being a first team regular at West Ham. I think that sort of injury at his age is tough to come back and play Premier League football every week. But I hope he does, because he's been a good servant for West Ham. He's been there since 2010. It's a long time to be at a football club. He's coming up to 10 years now. So knowing our board, they'll probably release him before he's eligible for a testimonial. But I hope he does. I hope he can play a few games for the under-23s. Even if he's just involved in the first team squad, it'd be good for Winston Reid, because I think that's what he deserves. He's been through a lot at West Ham. He's been through relegations. He's been through promotions. He's been through heartache. He's been through the good times. You know, he scored the last ever goal at the Bowling Ground. So he's always going to be in West Ham's history, Winston Reid.
Yeah, his goal against Millwall as well in the Championship. That song we still sing about him now when he is on the pitch.
To be fair, that Millwall goal probably means more than the last at the Bowling for us fans, because I remember that game. I remember the rugby tackle that Fulbert done on their goalkeeper. That was never a free kick. I don't know. I think the linesman must have been a West Ham fan that day, and the ref. I'm just glad VAR weren't about in them days.
Oh, tell me about it, mate. I know. I mean, I will never forget that Championship game, because I got a throat infection because how bloody cold it was that day. So I will never ever forget that. I'm so glad I wasn't doing this channel then, because I would have been like, hello, you would not have been able to understand a bloody word I was saying.
It'd be interesting for us if Millwall. Well, Millwall are never going to come up, so we'll have to go down to play them again. But it'd be interesting to see if we ever did play them away, doing fan cams outside Millwall would be. I don't think we'll be able to do fan cams. Well, saying that though, the away end you are separated from the home fans in the away end. Because I've been Millwall a couple of times, and it's not the nicest place to go. And I've never seen us win now. I've seen us. I was there when we got battered 4-1. Jesus. And I was also there when we drew sort of 0-0. So it's a tough one. It's a tough place to go. But
now, talking of tough things, mate, this might be a bit of a tough question for you to answer, because obviously in January we've got the FA Cup rolling around. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think we're going to take it serious this time, or are we going to make too many changes again?
I hope we take it serious, especially this year. I mean, every year we should take it serious, but it's the 40th anniversary this year of obviously the last time we won it. And I've said this a long time, that a club like West Ham should never go 40 years without winning a trophy. But look, I was disappointed the other night against Oxford, because I thought the League Cup is a cup that we can go for. Obviously, if you had the choice out of two, you choose the FA Cup all day long. I think some people will probably choose the FA Cup over Champions League qualification. It'll be massive for the club, and I hope that Pellegrini, because if we can get to January and we're sort of around the top 8, we're comfortable in the league, we can get a couple of new signings in, then I think the squad is good enough. The only thing with the difference between the FA Cup and the League Cup is that some of the bigger boys like City, Liverpool, Chelsea, they take that FA Cup a little bit more serious. But I think on the day, I mean, I remember back in 2006 when we got to the FA Cup final. I remember how massive it was. I remember Sky Sports News going around people's houses in Canning Town and Plastone interviewing them. And I remember I mean, mum and dad's house, we put flags up, bunting. There was loads of people around my street that were putting flags because it was a rare thing because it was the first time since 1980 that we'd been to the FA Cup final. So it'd be massive for this club to win a trophy. But yeah, I hope that Pellegrini and I hope the players and I think that having someone like Mark Noble lift the FA Cup would be massive for us. I'd love for. Look, I don't know idea. I'm a massive Mark Noble fan, and I know there's not many years left in his legs, and eventually he will have to be sort of faded out of the team. So for him to win the FA Cup would be massive for Mark Noble, for the fan base, for the club, and for everyone connected with West Ham.
You never know. He could be our Scholesy, or he could be our Ryan Giggs. He could be banging on for it because everybody says, "Oh, he's got 2 years long," and then next season comes around. Yeah, he's only got 2 years left. So you never know. You never know.
One thing I would say about Noble is people say his legs are gone. He's not fast. He's never been fast. So,
No.
and
Bobby Moore was never fast, and look how he was.
Trevor Brooking weren't the quickest, but he was, he was a legend at West Ham and a great player. Yeah. Sometimes you don't have to be fast. As long as you've got a good footballing brain, you look after yourself, you can play for as long as you want.
Exactly. And one final question from me, because before I turn to the guys in the chat, because there's been a couple of questions coming up there. Are you doing on the social this week?
Yeah, do you know what? It's been the last few weeks has been really mental for me. I've had a lot going on work-wise, personal life, and football. It's just been all on top of each other. But yeah, we are going to get back to getting a schedule. I'm hoping to get one out this week. I think I'm going to change the days I do it. I think it might be easier for me to maybe do it on a Sunday or something, to go out on a Monday or Tuesday. So it's like me and Nicky are talking about, but there will be one. I enjoy doing them. I had big shoes to fill when I took over from Graham. So it's he's the real on the social. I'm just a stand-in.
Talking to Graham, he's actually doing quite well still with the community football team. Thames Ironworks, third in the division 2 of the ESC. So
yeah, I mean two promotions, in 2 seasons, 2 trophies. I don't really get to see Graham a lot, so it was nice to spend the night with him the other night at a Cotty and Mac of anything. We had a good chat, good catch up. We go back years. Me, Graham. I've known Graham and Scott since I started playing football with them 15, 16 years ago. Known Nicky for over 25 years. It's and Dan sort of come into it late. I've only known Dan about 2 or 3 years, but we're all so close. We have our arguments, we have our rows, but that's part of being mates and being a fan channel. You're going to have disagreements, but at the end of the day, we all love each other, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was quite funny to see that from the vaults. I think it was about the Spurs game where you were sitting there arguing with Nicky about both right, and both in terms of, I was like, yeah, I'm right, Nicky. I'm
that
wrong.
Was Man United in the FA Cup. That was.
But okay, so question from Barbara: score predictions against Palace.
As I said earlier, I think it's going to be a tight game. I'd like to see a high-scoring tight game, like a 3-2, but I'm sort of going to go with you on it. I think maybe a 2-1. This could be the sort of game that West Ham go 1-0 down in as well, and we have to sort of dig our heels in and get the kits dirty and get stuck in and nick a winner.
Definitely. Where's the next one? Ben Davis. Good to see you again, Ben. What was the first away ground you went to, Ryan?
First away game was Filbert Street, Leicester City away. Great little old ground that was. It was my first ever away game. We won. We beat them 3-1 actually. Di Canio scored 2 that day, and Paolo Wanchop scored 1. So I remember Heskey. I'm sure Heskey put them 1-0 up in that game, or he equalised. But I remember. But yeah, Filbert Street was a great ground, great old fashioned stadium.
Perfect. And just one final question, mate, because I know you've got to shoot off in a second.
No, go on, mate. You're all right.
Jones, a question for Ryan. Do you think we will get new players in the January transfer window? This is a very interesting question.
Yeah, I think we definitely need a striker. Obviously, Hernandez going was a big blow. I know he didn't have a lot of fans at West Ham, but I always thought he was someone good to have on the bench. Depending on injuries, I don't think you don't want to upset the squad too much by bringing in 4 or 5 players, but maybe two or 3 additions. Maybe I think we might need another it's difficult because I think we've got good cover everywhere on the pitch. Maybe another centre midfielder. I think attacking wise we're all right. As I said, another striker, but you don't want to, especially if there's good spirit in the squad and they're doing well, you don't want to upset too many of the squad players.
Would you bring in Mandzukic in, or however you bloody pronounce it, in January? The Juventus player that we've been linked with the last few years.
Yeah, I think. Look, he's 33. I think he is. I think he's a similar sort of build to Sebastian Haller. So, look, he's a great striker, and if we can get him, yeah, you definitely take him. But I think we need to look like. It's funny to say it, we need to look like a sort of Hernandez type striker. I know we've just let Hernandez go, but we need someone like that, like a.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Jermaine,
I'm not saying Jermaine Defoe, but a player like Jermaine Defoe, the way they're in that box. But I've always with sort of Yarmolenko, I've always seen him as a striker, as a makeshift striker. So maybe Pellegrini, that's why they let Hernandez go. Because if it comes to it, he's got the build. He's played up front before. He scored plenty of goals in Ukraine. So he could be an option. And you see just the way he plays, the way he turns and hits a ball. That's what I want Sebastian Haller to be a bit more like. Sometimes I think he's not greedy enough, Haller. He seems to want to bring people into play a bit too much for my liking. I want to see him be a bit greedy like Aubameyang and Lacazette, the way they play. You know, get the ball, turn and hit it, and he'll get a lot more goals.
I know Barbara's got a little bit tongue in cheek with this, but this is a great comment. I love this. Imagine Noble if you had Frederick's legs.
Yeah, well,
that would be that would be a lethal Noble.
Imagine a lot of players if they had Frederick's legs. He's bloody fast. I tell you, he's a quick player. I see it against Man United when he made that ground up for about 60, 70 yards to get back. He's very quick, and he's got the makings to be a good right back for West Ham. I think he's started the season well. I think it's his place to lose now, and he's got a good sort of backup behind him in Zabaleta, because I'm sure Zabaleta's passing on all his knowledge to him.
Yeah, and of course, obviously, he retires at the end of the season as well, as far as we're concerned. So yeah, it's Ryan. It's been absolutely brilliant to talk to you, mate. Very, very happy to talk to you as always, and it's nice to be able to shoot the wind with you, as the phrase goes.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on, mate. I've really enjoyed it, and keep up the good work you're doing, mate. I always, as I said many times, I watch loads of West Ham content. I watch yourself, Hammers Chat, American Hammers, Free Hammers, West Ham Way, Sex, Drugs, and Colton Cole. I watch them all, and because I always like to see what other people's opinions are, and just keep doing what you're doing, mate. Enjoy it.
Definitely. It's certainly been a whirlwind the last 4 months, which is one of the reasons why I'm stopping doing this now. I want my Tuesday nights back. Obviously, try and make sure that you're on the social doesn't conflict with Nicky's Monday's musings whenever he starts doing that again, because I don't want the last thing we want is you two arguing over who's going up when.
Well, he'd win because he does the editing, so it's up to him when it all goes up. But yeah, he sort of Monday musings went from a Monday to a midweek musings because he never used to get it out on a Monday. So no, but we're looking forward. Dan, I think, is going to be back with West Ham Week. Obviously, Scott's got his previews. We've got loads of other things, sort of lined up that we want to do. Loads of ideas. So it's just getting time to do them all, because the thing is, we love doing this channel, but when you work full time, it's hard. It is hard to. You want to come home and you want to spend time with your loved ones, and you want to do things after work. But we've got loads of stuff planned.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for your time, mate. It's been absolutely brilliant to talk to you. Guys, thank you very much for all your questions you put in and your comments. The chat's been quite quiet tonight, but maybe because it's a Tuesday night, who knows. But guys, thank you very much. If you're new around here and you like what I'm doing, then by all means, please click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get to see when the new live streams and new videos are going up. As I say, this is the last guest video of the series for quite a while, I'm hoping. It's been great. I just want to say thank you to Tim from American Hammers, who's got me into doing this in the first place. Also Dave Walker, ex-West Ham employee. This is practically endless already. Lena from coming on last week, and also Dan Lawless for coming on a few times when I needed a bit of cover as well. So thank you guys to everybody. Now, so for those who are doing the JPWHUTV Fantasy League, I will now be jumping over to Facebook to do the stream for that. So guys, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you very, very soon. Or obviously, basically Thursday night for the preview of the Palace at home game. So thanks very much for your time, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you very soon.